The Golden Lamb stood proudly on the corner, a beacon of history and warmth. Its brick walls held stories, whispered over centuries, tales of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. Inside, the air smelled like cinnamon and warm bread, a comforting aroma that welcomed everyone who entered. People came from far and wide, drawn by the promise of a hearty meal and a place to rest their weary feet. They came for the food, the laughter, and the warmth that seemed to radiate from every corner of the Golden Lamb. But some, they came for the whispers, the secrets that the old inn seemed to hold within its walls. The Golden Lamb had a secret, a mystery that intrigued and captivated those who were curious enough to seek it out. It held on to the past, preserving memories and moments that had long since faded from the minds of the living. Those who had walked its halls before, they never truly left. Their presence lingered, a silent testament to the inn's rich history. Their memories lingered like the scent of pipe smoke and lavender, subtle yet unmistakable. And sometimes, just sometimes, they made themselves known, a fleeting glimpse or a soft whisper in the night. A little girl with hair like spun gold was one such memory, a bright spot in the inn's storied past. Her name was Helen, and the Golden Lamb was her playground, a place where she could be free and happy. She knew every nook, every cranny, every creak of the floorboards, each one a part of her daily adventures. It was her castle, her haven, her home, a place where her spirit still roamed, bringing warmth and whispers to those who listened. Helen was a bright spot in the bustling life of the Golden Lamb. Her presence was like a ray of sunshine, illuminating even the darkest corners of the inn. Her laughter echoed through the halls, a melody that brought smiles to even the grumpiest faces. It was a sound that could lift spirits and bring a sense of joy to everyone who heard it. With her rosy cheeks and bright eyes, she reminded people of simpler times. Her innocence and purity were a breath of fresh air in a world that often felt too complicated and rushed. She would often sit with the regulars, listening to their stories with wide-eyed wonder. Her curiosity knew no bounds, and she absorbed every tale as if it were a precious gem. The old men would chuckle and pat her head, their hearts warmed by her infectious laughter. They found a renewed sense of youth and joy in her company, as if her spirit was contagious. Helen had a gift for bringing joy to everyone she met. Her presence was a reminder that happiness could be found in the simplest of moments.
I love hearing your stories. They make me feel like I'm part of an adventure. Every tale you tell is like a new journey for me.
The owner of the Golden Lamb, a kind woman with a quick smile, treated Helen like her own granddaughter. She saw in Helen a spark that reminded her of her own youth. She would let Helen help out in the kitchen, teaching her how to bake cookies and pies. These moments were filled with laughter and learning, creating memories that would last a lifetime. The scent of baking always seemed to follow Helen, a sweet aroma that lingered long after she left the room. It was as if her joy and warmth were baked into every treat she made, leaving a lasting impression on everyone at the Golden Lamb. Wherever Helen went, her faithful companion Buddy was sure to follow. A golden retriever with fur the colour of honey, Buddy was Helen's best friend. They were inseparable, two peas in a pod. Buddy was a mischievous pup, always getting into trouble. He would steal napkins from unsuspecting diners and bury bones in the flower beds outside, but his heart was pure gold and Helen adored him. Woof, woof! They would spend hours playing in the courtyard behind the Golden Lamb, chasing butterflies and soaking up the sunshine. Buddy would chase after the squirrels that dared to venture into their domain, his bark a playful warning. Helen would giggle, her laughter as bright and warm as the summer sun. One rainy afternoon, Helen and her loyal dog Buddy decided to play a game of hide-and-seek inside the Golden Lamb, an old historic restaurant that had seen better days. The restaurant was eerily quiet, the usual lunchtime rush long gone, leaving behind an almost ghostly silence that filled the air. Helen covered her eyes and began to count, her voice echoing through the empty rooms and hallways, adding to the mysterious atmosphere.
1, 2, 3, ready or not, here I come.
Buddy, his tail wagging excitedly, bounded off with enthusiasm to find the perfect hiding spot, his paws tapping lightly on the wooden floors. He knew all the best places, the hidden nooks and crannies that Helen hadn't discovered yet, having explored the restaurant many times before. He squeezed behind an old grandfather clock, his heart pounding with anticipation and excitement, hoping Helen wouldn't find him too quickly. Helen finished counting and began her search for her furry friend, her eyes scanning every corner of the dimly lit restaurant. She checked behind the heavy curtains, under the dusty tables, and even inside the empty fireplace, but there was no sign of Buddy. But Buddy was nowhere to be found, and the empty spaces seemed to mock her efforts.
Buddy? Where are you, Buddy? Come out, wherever you are.
Woof, woof! Helen's voice grew more anxious with each call, her worry mounting as the minutes ticked by. The once fun game was turning into a frantic search, and Helen couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong.